Hi.
Hi! This is the episode where you're not pregnant.
I know, it's so crazy.
When we shot all of the other videos, your shirt stopped right here. So are you wearing a shirt today?
I'm wearing a full shirt. No
Look
sewing.
at
Today we're shooting episode 13.
you. We call it to sleep, not to sleep.
That is
That is the
question.
question.
Basically, we're going to be talking about sleep training versus co-sleeping. Lindsay did co-sleeping, and I've been doing sleep training. I mean, obviously, we're only like a few weeks in, but yeah.
First off, Jacob and I were terrified when nights would roll around. Like, I was scared of my son because he was a cluster feeding baby. So he waited until night to do all of his breastfeeding. And it wasn't like wake up every 2 hours. It was consecutive. So he constantly had to have my nipple in his mouth. And I wasn't sleeping. He wouldn't go into like, he didn't enjoy being swaddled. He didn't enjoy not being on another human being. So we tried out his bassinet. No, wasn't a thing. So we were like, okay, the only way we're actually going to get sleep is if we put him in bed with us and just do it this way. And we got a lot of opinions about like, oh my God, don't start him out in the bed, you'll never get him out. So I think that kind of started us off on a scary foot. We were really nervous to see what was going to happen, but it ended up working out for us because from going to like being awake throughout the entire night, he slept while he was on us. I just kept my nipple in his mouth the entire night, so that was fine. It was like easily accessible for him. And yeah, like other than getting used to like having to set the bed up, we set it up so we've got like Jacob, Levi, me, and then a pillow on the outside of me so that he can't roll off, because now he rolls and moves. He gets up in his sleep and does that. So yeah, I think it was scary at first because you're thinking, oh God, don't roll over on him, whatever. But your body is almost used to, like you're very aware that he's in the bed with you guys. So
My mom and I have had conversations about this, about how she's like, it's crazy. Like, you slept in the bed with me when, back in the day, and it was no problem. And everyone worries about SIDS now. And she's like, I literally had my boob in your mouth all night. And your natural instinct, your motherly instinct is to, keep the baby okay, make sure the baby's alive, surviving, and safe.
So a lot of people say that with the co-sleeping, their heart rate and your heart rate kind of like sync up. So you guys are really aware of when the other one moves or when the other one starts to like wake up a little bit, you're in sync. A lot of people say that co-sleeping is really healthy, and it's also a time where I feel like I'm still bonding with him because now that he's not breastfeeding anymore, almost a year old, that is my bonding with him. Jacob's the fun one. He gets excited when Jacob comes home, he wants to play with him, but he's like, okay, when I'm tired or when I'm ready to go to bed, I know mom's the one. And I feel like I'm gonna miss that. And now that he's approaching a year and Jacob's saying, get him out of the bed.
Yeah.
Really sad, but I'm also really tired because now that he is almost a year old and he rolls around, he kicks, he smacks me in the middle of the night, like he is not a very good co-sleeper anymore. He's like, I want my own space. We're not getting sleep anymore. We got a lot of sleep for up until maybe 10 months, and then at 10 months he's like ready to get in his crib, but he's also not, because he still needs that human contact.
Yeah. My sister did co-sleeping. I don't know if she did it with Jaden, but she did it with Camille, and Camille's 9 now, and I don't think she was in her bed until like last year. And she's like, now we've been talking about me doing the sleep training. She's like, that is great. But like a lot of people didn't talk about that up until like recently. I think a lot of people weren't as aware of sleep training.
I think SIDS has a huge role because it wasn't talked about up. And I mean, I didn't know about SIDS until I got pregnant, and everyone was like, have you heard of SIDS? Oh my God, you have to put your baby in his crib on his back with nothing in there, like no ramp, no cuddly things. And I was like, oh my God, I have no idea. My son covers up with a blanket.
Yeah.
My mom was a single mom, so I slept in the bed until I was like probably like almost in high school, just because it was comfortable, and we were in the house by ourselves and we'd watch TV and I'd just fall asleep in bed with my mom, and I feel like I turned out okay.
Yeah, my mom was a single parent until I was 7. And then, you know, I met my stepdad then, my now ex-stepdad, who I call my dad. And even after that, you know, I would still crawl in bed with her. But up until 7, my mom was a single parent. She worked a few jobs. We were like low income, and we shared, me and her and my sister at some points all shared a bed. My sister's 7 years older than me, until I was like 7. And so I was always so used to sleeping next to someone, even in like relationships, because of that.
But now in a relationship, now that I have shared a bed with Levi and Jacob, I'm like, I could have my own bed. I'd be fine with it. Just a little bit of space for myself.
I feel like that sometimes too now.
Yeah, but I do enjoy the cuddles. So you're doing a sleep training program, right?
Yeah, so Steely was we had him on June 17th, and then he got taken from us at 30 hours and taken to the NICU. And they basically had him on a schedule there. And so I was on call to feed him and whatnot, but he basically was on a 3-hour-ish schedule there. So he would sleep for 3 hours. They would soothe him in between so that he would go back to sleep. And then when he would wake up, they would change him. I would feed, and then he'd go back to sleep. There was like no playtime, nothing like that. So when we got home, we're like, oh, great, he's on a schedule. Like, this is going to be so good. And we got him 10 days later, which was like 12 days old. So we're like, oh, he's great. He's on a schedule. We get him home, and I don't know what happened to that schedule, but it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And we thought he'd be used to sleeping by himself, but at that point I was like super attached. So we have the Halo bassinet. We have it by our bed, and we had him in there. And it went pretty well. I mean, he still slept better than most babies from what I hear, you know, like a couple hours at a time. But he was like really sensitive to like sound and stuff. I don't know if it was because it was a steady sound at the NICU with like all the beeping, but it was like very quiet and kind of dim and dark. So that sleep schedule kind of like went out. That whole schedule kind of went out pretty quickly. So one of Isaac's friends gifted us a sleep training. Well, it's actually just like a schedule training course. And she was gifted it by her mother-in-law, and they like swore by it, but they didn't start it until 3 months. And so she was like, if you start it earlier, it'd be even better. So the course is from 0 to 6 months. And like, it shows you by week, like what their behavior, mannerisms, like what to expect, like that kind of stuff. And then it also like by 2 to 4 week increments tells you like, this is how many hours they should be sleeping. They give you like a set schedule as far as like feedings, playtime, you know, sleeping, whatever, a full routine. So we started that, it's Friday today, so like a week ago, last Friday. And what's that?
Only been a week.
What'd you say? Sorry, you blacked out.
It's only been a week.
Yeah, it's only been a week, I think.
No, you're already doing so good.
I know. So, yeah, so a week, it's been a week. First day went like amazing. He was exactly on the schedule. So it's approximately a 3-hour schedule. I don't want to give it all away,